and torches and a mass of people. And in this yelling and mass of people, you walk outside, and there's barely any room to walk on this 2-road town street. And someone shoulders you, and another person elbows you, and ahead of you there's this massive crowd that has gathered, and you can't see what is in the middle of it, but it's late in the evening, and there is shouting. It seems to be like riotous.
I'll make an investigation check.
So go ahead and roll an investigation for me.
That is a 12.
You know, it's not hard to see. You can't tell who. Let me say, you don't know who the figure is, but there seems to be a figure that is standing on a pedestal, and this figure is speaking to this crowd, trying to dissuade them of something. You hear from the crowd these cries of, "You said that you would keep them away," and there seems to be a general disarray about it all. And actually, someone bursts through the crowd. Kumi, would you like to introduce your character? The crowd parts for a group of 3 people: Kumi, Anthony, and Emmy. There's something strange about this group. Tristan, you notice that there is a dragonborn in between a half-elf and this barbarian-looking fellow. Hey, sorry, I can't hear you guys.
Okay, so he vaguely insulted our mother and told me I looked like a man, so I looked to my sister. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Emmy. The other half of the half-elf. We are I, Emmy, am very tall and slender, and my sister is very short, squat. We are both have the same face, just different body types, and both are used for different purposes. She's the brains, I'm the brawn. So I looked at her being angry, and she said, "Go ahead." So I started smacking him, we're smacking each other.
And there seems to be this timid-looking dragonborn fellow kind of standing towards the back, but they do seem to be a group. Anthony, what is your character doing?
I am Villathor, the Dragonborn. I am shaking my head as I see Kumi going hog wild on, and I'm about to walk over and stop her.
Rage, fucking rage!
Just beating ass. So there's a brawl that is coming about. Anthony, you're trying to stop Kumi. Kumi, you're just going to town on this group. Is there anyone in particular that you're going for, or is this just like anyone?
Oh, the bartender. There you go.
Okay, so the bartender walks outside, and because he's noticed all the noise, and he says, "Stop all this. This is bad for business." And you walk over and you attempt to deck him. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me, Kumi.
I got a 9.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Add your strength. Add your strength to that.
So 9, 10, 11, 12.
So go ahead and roll a d6 for damage for me. You walk straight through the crowd, and you walk over to this bartender that you don't know, and just do what to him? I'm sorry?
Inject him in the face.
So you just completely knock him out. There are two other
Yo,
shorter looking people that come out of the bar right behind the bartender. Shelby and Braden, would you like to introduce your characters?
Hello, I am Mavthor Fireforge.
And how does your character react to what is going on?
I don't really want to get involved on this. I don't know if I don't feel like I saw enough from the beginning to know, which side I need to take on it just now. But I think if the barbarian goes after another person, I might have to step in and try to stop that.
And Homae, Shelby, what do you do?
I am definitely somebody who likes to get the inside scoop on everything. So I'm a little 4-foot ginger gnome who's just starting to ask what's going on to every single person.
and you get a lot of really confused looks because you're kind of a hippie, and so you're walking up to them just totally unafraid, and you're like, what's going on, and to every person, and if they don't answer you fast enough, you just walk to the next person before they even have time to answer you. You're just like, what's going on, and you walk to the next person and you say, what's going on.
I'm also having a hard time getting people's attention because I'm 4 feet or 3 feet and 40 pounds. I'm like tugging on people's legs.
Tristan just screams when she tugs on it.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm also
She's like, oh my!
towards the bar to see if there's another bartender that is not knocked out.
So there isn't anyone at the bar, but you do notice that some of the bottles are just kind of like right there, and you eye some of the other patrons that are there. What do you want to do?
No, I don't want to grab a bottle. I'm gonna go. No one needs to be stealing those bottles. I'm gonna go over and hang out next to the bar, make sure no one tries to take any of those bottles.
but I, Emicon the Conqueror, would like to take a few bottles.
So what happens, Mavthor? What happens is the bar is actually taller than you are. So if you wanted to like create a menacing presence, you might have to get on top of the bar, because as you walk around the bar, you realize, well, you can hardly look over it at this height. I remember your character being fairly short, right?
I mean, I like to think I'm pretty tall. I'm 4'9".
Okay.
Lucky side.
For a dwarf, I'm pretty tall.
So
Can I walk over
just
and ask if he needs help?
yeah. Just to put this in context, Emmy the Conqueror is this like 6 foot tall, just beautiful like half elf goddess, and she walks over to you and just starts wholesale taking bottles. So what do you do?
Got her knees.
Oh man.
You've decided that this is like the hill that you're going to die on. What do you do?
Hey man, your sister already knocked out the bartender. Can you not just like also ruin the business? Shit's obviously going weird here, and it's just not gonna end well for pretty much anybody if you take these bottles.
Am I?
Yeah.
Who told you can talk to me?
After that, she yells at Kumi and says they're ready to leave.
And I stop what I'm doing. I throw whoever I have by the neck down. I rush to her.
So now, just for reference, you have Emmy, who seems to have just totally disregarded you. Just like, how many bottles do you take, Emmy?
4 hard liquors.
4. Go ahead and roll an investigation for me to see if you can identify hard liquor.
Oh, and a cider for her sister.
What dice is that again?
It's a D20, and then you're gonna add your investigation modifier to it. and as she's like investigating the bottles, kind of giving you a side eye, her twin sister walks over and crosses her arms in a menacing way and puts her hand on her weapon. Now you're facing down against these very tall, outspoken women.
Oh my god.
I rolled a 32, if that matters.
No, you didn't.
What?
No, she rolled a 19, and with the modifier, it's 32.
No, it's not. Hold on.
Plus 13 and anything.
I've already broken the game. One session in.
13, rolled a 19.
Her investigation is not a 13. Hold on. This is my fault.
Are you looking at the stat or the
It's under
mod?
skills. It should
It's under
be.
skills. It's not your intelligence or anything. It's under your.
Emmy,
Oh, it is.
Emmy, listen to me. Your investigation is a +3.
Guys, see me say it. They're holding your gun to me.
She's the barbaric, stupid one.
I just played my role here. I've always been stupid. I'm gonna keep being stupid. Just keep going with it.
And you're a teacher.
I know, right?
All right, so you got a 22. You've identified this blue-looking bottle that seems halfway full, this green-looking bottle that's a third of the way full, and then two red-looking bottles that have their tops still on, just ready for taking. And you know that they're going to be the good stuff.
I shoved them so fast in my bag that nobody can see it.
Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll athletics for me.
You're gonna have to roll for that.
Yeah. Or sleight of hand might be better. By the way, your sleight of hand modifier is a 0.
Do it.
What dice is athletics?
Roll sleight of hand, which is a d20. So you do not, in fact, move faster than sight. What you do is you grab one bottle fairly quickly, and then you have to turn another bottle, and you knock another bottle off while you're doing it. And so you've got one bottle in each hand, and you've ruined another bottle. But what would you like to do? You've kind of chosen this hill to die on, Braden.
Can I kind of get a lay of what the room is reacting to this?
Yeah, so actually, go ahead and roll perception for me.
And actually, my character is doing something.
Okay,
I rolled a 15 after the modifier.
cool. So you actually notice that someone who is just out of sight to you, to the right, near the corner of the bar, is also kind of eyeballing the stuff behind the bar. And you see that he goes for something as well, right as you're watching him. But he sees that you see him, and so he puts it back. And as far as the other people in the room, some of the people at the tables have gone back to their business. The bartender is decked out. He's outside. You see that the cleric, the entertainer, Homae, who you know personally, is there, and then everyone else. So aside from the one guy at the bar who also tried to steal something, people are just kind of going back to normal.
And outside, my character is crouched down over the bartender, and he's humming.
Oh, and what happens is that this... Sorry, please, go ahead.
So what you notice happens is the bartender opens his eye.
Oh, so the bartender opens his eyes and he shakes himself. He says, but he sees you, Emmy, with two bottles in your hand. And he sees Kumi with her arms crossed, And how would you say your name, Braden?
So,
Sorry, how do you say your name, Braden?
Mavthor.
So Mavthor, you're kind of not sure what to do, but you're standing behind the bar, and he locks eyes on you, and he says, "Hey, get out of there!" And he eyes you, Emmy, and says, "Are those yours?" And he's going. What'd you say?
So I use my immense charm, and I try to flirt with him and tell him that, oh, this is for you. I saw you got knocked out. I knew you could use a drink.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion. Is that? Let's go with persuasion for that.
It's technically not a lie.
Yeah. Let's go persuasion. Go and roll a d20 and add your persuasion modifier, which is a +4.
So I got a 7.
So you got an 11. And he says, I recognize my own bottles. Give me those. And he walks over and he forcefully takes them from your hands. And he kind of elbows you while he's doing it. And he walks past you brusquely, Mavthor, and he walks back behind his bar. And he says, "Get out of here, all of you." So
The character walks. Hey, friend. Now remember, you have a need my group.
he says, "An entertainer."
I also revive you.
He says, "I don't trust you. Magic got us into this mess. Even though you just saved his life," he says, "I don't trust you."
No, that's not. I told you that I would entertain here for about 2 hours. You said that you would give me a room.
And go ahead and roll insight for me. He gives you side eye and says, "And I didn't see you entertaining." Go ahead and roll insight for me.
Ooh. 17.
He's definitely lying. He might not even have a room for you.
Oh, I know you saw me. We connected eyes while I was telling stories because I'm really good at reading my audience and telling if they're entertained.
And he says, I didn't see any business come in. You said you'd do some advertisement for me.
Well, just because there's a horde of zombies out there that's slowing down your business has nothing to do with me, so I would very graciously ask for your room, sir, that you promised me.
Are you going to roll anything on that?
I'm going to roll persuasion.
All right, go ahead and roll for me.
Meanwhile, that catches Tristan's ear, and he's looking to see if the guy that everyone was yelling outside.
Oh, yeah. So you walk outside. Anyone else want to go outside?
Yeah, I'm pretty frustrated, so I kind of bump past Emmy and Kumi and just roll up.
Cool.
I also want to go outside because I'm just blasting.
I
So-
spotted the short girl gnome. Is that a gnome? She a dwarf.
This is you, Homae.
Pet. So I will also go outside.
I see all these people just following me outside. I'm just kind of getting inside.
I see a line of people follow me outside.
All these lunatics are following me outside.
So, Britton, I'm sorry. What did you get for persuasion?
18 plus 5.
He says, let me level with you. I didn't have a room for you. I was just hoping that you'd leave, but perhaps we can make another accommodation. Here, take
You know what?
take any bottle you like. And he gestures towards the bottles that are on the counter. He says, "Worth more than a room anyway. Go find yourself a nice tree."
I'm gonna roll perception real quick because I'm gonna try to look for the most expensive bottle.
Alrighty. Go ahead and roll for me. And you guys who are going outside, go ahead and get ready.
So I basically asked for the most expensive bottle, sir, but I can't really tell which one is the most expensive. So.
And you're saying that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No. What'd you roll?
8. 7 plus 1.
Have you ever drank a day in your life? Because I don't think so. You go for one of these nice looking kind of flashy bottles, and it looks nice to you. But you know what? It's not really gonna matter. So to you, I mean, like you see a bottle that has a flashy looking exterior. Yeah, it has a nice look to it.
Dramatically walk over and just take the bottle, just kind of reach out and snatch it.
And he actually catches you on the arm as you're doing that, like right as you're snatching it. And he says, and thank you for the stories. And he actually hands you 2 gold as well. So from this interaction, you kind of get this idea of like, everyone's kind of affected by this. He just wants to make the best of it, you know? Maybe he's not such a bad guy. But he lets you leave with the bottle, and he gives you the 2 gold. So is everyone going outside?
Yes, seems like it.
All right.
I think so.
So outside, a lot of the crowd has dispersed. In fact, the only people that are still outside are, there seems to be this haggard man who is leaning against one of the walls. Otherwise, everyone else seems to have dispersed. It's getting to be fairly late in the evening at this point. In fact, the bartender comes outside and says, and you all be safe. I wouldn't stay outside at night. And he closes his door behind you, and you hear the lock click.
And I mumble pretty audibly. I wouldn't be outside if I had a room.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to do?
Could I walk up to Burden's character and offer him camp with us if he shares the bottle with me?
That's up to you guys.
Yeah, I want to do that.
So my character looks at my bottle. He's like, I'm not sure. I don't know you. I don't know any of you. In fact, you punched out the guy that was supposed to give me a room. He looks at Emmy.
I get in front of Emmy to block her and promise you that both of them will leave you alone.
Do you promise? I'm promising. I don't know.
I'm a dragonborn. I'm bigger than both of them. I will keep them away from you.
And as he says that, you do kind of size him up and notice that, first of all, you don't think you've ever seen a dragonborn before. And second of all, he is tall, burly, but actually he kind of looks a little weak, like physically weak, but he could probably tear you to shreds at chess, you know?
Well, I don't. He takes a few steps back, by the way. He's like, well, I don't have anything better to do with my evening now, so I suppose I will join.
All right. And so you are in what is essentially a city square as the evening comes upon you. Now, you are all travelers of this world, and so you know the many dangers that lie in it, and you know that if you don't find somewhere to rest before much longer, then there will be worse things to worry about than a simple bar fight. What would you guys like to do?
Well, I'm gonna talk to the haggard man.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how would you like to approach
And is
him?
he still just hanging?
He seems barely conscious.
Does he look injured in some way?
I would say go ahead and roll an insight for me.
Righty then. $18.
So he's not injured. He might be drunk. He might be something. You really can't tell, but he doesn't seem outwardly injured. He just seems haggard, and he seems tired. Tired enough that, with all the dangers of the night, he has chosen to lie against a wall. So, if that tells you anything about him.
Well, I'm gonna go up to him and just be like, "You do."
Hey, sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
I just asked him if you.
And it couldn't be more perfect because you cut out again.
Oh God.
Like right when you were saying what you were going to do.
I just walked up and asked him if.
You must be doing it on purpose.
Yeah, literally every time you're like, I really would just want to.
Yeah, literally every time it's like,
Can y'all hear
It's
me?
hilarious.
and then I told him, just like, it literally couldn't be more perfect if you tried.
Can you hear me right?
It literally could not be more perfect. You did it again.
Oh my God.
Also, said asked
Um,
if that person was the mayor.
Britain.
Britton, you cut out as well. It literally could not be more perfect. Like, right as you were beginning to say what you want to say, it cuts out perfectly.
Mayor is he?
Is he the mayor? I want you to roll persuasion for me.
Ooh,
You-
first time I've ever had a decent
You-
persuasion.
You look at him and you size him up and you say, "Are you the mayor?"
And I got a 20.
Wow. He seems more lucid now that you're actually engaging with him, and it's surprisingly so. He says, "Not the mayor, and you do well to get outside of the town before the night falls."
Well, I don't know what any of that was, but I assume it has something to do with the undead I've been hearing about. So, what do you know?
He says, "They're not undead. They're soulless. It's worse than undead. And you do well to get out of here."
Well, and what do you know about these undead, or whatever they are?
He gives you a look, the kind of look that you give a child that you keep telling something to, but they just don't listen to you. And he says, "Staying here is a bad idea. Get out of here."
Okay, listen, man. I'm the guy that you send to deal with these kinds of things, and I show him the amulet, and
Ooh, go and roll intimidation for me.
yes, Daddy. Well, where is my intimidation? Not as good. 8.
So, you say, I'm the kind of guy that you send to deal with these sorts of issues, Daddy. And he's intimidated at first, but then he laughs and he says, you must be as crazy as I am. They're soulless. They take from you, and it's not magic. It's worse. And as you hear that, is there anyone who is at the back of the group? Anyone who would be like normally inclined to be towards the back?
That would probably be my character now.
I'm next to Amnon.
I'm gonna go with Homae because Homae hasn't been saying as much, and so I'm gonna say that you're kind of naturally one of the more shy characters. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
And so you're towards the back. Go ahead and roll perception for me. It's a D20, and then you add your perception modifier to it.
19 with the mod.
You actually notice that you took a moment to look behind you, and you see this unsettling fog is approaching the town. What would you guys like to do?
I want to try to make my voice heard a little bit and tell everybody to go in the trees.
And what do you say to everyone?
Hey guys, we should all go in the trees.
And Tristan, as you hear Homae say that to you, you turn your eyes away from this man for a second, and you turn back, and his eyes are downcast again, but he seems to be laughing.
Let's see. Can I see with Arcana to see if there's anything wrong with him outside of being in?
I'm gonna say, Anthony, your character Villathor has detect evil and good. A lot of you magic users have other ways of detecting magic. Arcana would not give you anything. I'm just gonna tell you right away. Arcana is more of like if you want to investigate a rune or investigate a place, or if you suspected that the mist was magical, you could use Arcana with that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Villathor will walk over to Tristan and ask what he's doing.
I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with this guy. Do you have anything for that? You see magically inclined.
I pleasantly say yes and offer my assistance.
So Anthony, you have several abilities that you chose, which might be able to help you. If you look at your character sheet, you'll see a few different things. Let me see.
I will use the detect good, evil, and good on the haggard man.
So, you know if there are aberrations, celestials, elementals, fey fiends, and undead within 30 feet of you. There are... So it lasts 10 minutes as long as you concentrate on it. Okay?
Okay.
You look at the man as you detect evil and good, and you don't sense anything from him. But if you turn around, and as you turn, and as you notice that your detect evil and good hits you kind of like a wave, like a pressure. If you've ever been in a place and your ears have popped, it's like that, right? And for you to experience being near this fog with the detect evil and good is kind of like being underwater.
If it's that strong, oh my gosh. I prepare myself to see what's coming, and then I tell Kumi and Emmy to be by my side.
Does anyone else want to do anything or prepare anything?
Can I see any like doors around since we're in town square that I might be able to like
Go ahead and roll.
down to
Yeah, go and roll insight for me. And with this, we will move into an action economy. So for anyone who has not played before, go ahead and everyone roll a d20 for me. And then you're going to add. Don't tell me what you roll. What you're going to do is you're going to add your initiative bonus. So you see in the middle of your character sheet, your initiative bonus, you're going to add that to what you rolled. And now, after you've done that, tell me your roll plus your initiative, and I'm going to write them down. Or type it in the chat.
Ooh. What?
So, Britton, start getting ready. Sorry, Kumi, you cut out right when you said that.
Oh, no, shut up! Ow! Mine, Emmy, is 19.
Okay, Emmy, start getting ready to do things. Anthony, it looks like you were first. So, Anthony, you turn around and you see this mist coming towards you. It's moving no faster than a man could walk. But it seems to be gradually approaching the town. And you guys have been here, but maybe you've never seen this before. At the front of this cloud of mist, more than 100 feet away, you see these glowing motes of bright blue. And it's like a pressure wave for you, Anthony. So what you can do is you can move your full movement as you see on your character sheet. So your movement is where you see speed, 30 feet walking. And then additionally, if you look down where it says actions, you can do any one of those actions. And you conceptualize this as 6 seconds of real world time. Does that make sense to all of the newer players? You can move your full distance of movement and then do one standard action, including like attacking, casting spells, dashing, which is doubling your movement, disengaging, which is, we'll skip that for now. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Roger.
Cool.
I want to go 10 feet farther away from it to prepare myself and cast Shillelagh on my daggers.
And both the twins will dash 10 feet away too, behind people.
So part of the action economy is we're going to go turn by turn. It's Anthony first, and then Britton, and then you, Emmy, and then Braden, and then Alston, and then Shelby. And then what did Kumi get? I'm sorry.
Kumi got a 4.
All right, so you're going to dash 10 feet away and then get ready. It seems ominous, but it also seems lifeless, if that makes sense. All right, so Britton, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
I am also going to dash back.
More into the town square proper.
Yep. About 20 feet.
Okay. And did you want to prepare anything or do anything?
Say that again.
Did you want to prepare anything or do anything?
Draw my sword. I have a long sword.
Alrighty. And do you want to pass the rest of your turn?
Yes. I'm going to actually prepare a dodge.
Okay. And then Emmy, it's now your turn. You see that people around you are moving in this frantic way. You hear the light laughter from this disheveled fellow near the wall. What would you like to do? Now, if you wanted to move with Kumi, you can pass your turn, and then I'll pick you back up when we get to Kumi.
The disheveled man is still right next to the wall, correct?
Yes.
Do I steal something?
You say steal stuff? I would like to roll to loot. The perfect quarantine.
Just let him do it.
The perfect quarantine.
I will go back into the bar.
Okay. You're going to try and get back into the bar?
Wait, the bar's closed?
Yeah, you locked it.
It's locked.
Yeah.
Wasting
I
your turn.
wasn't here. Wait, I wasn't here.
That's okay. You can do something else. So you run over and you shake the handle, and it seems to be locked. I mean, you can break down the door, or you can try and pick the lock, or you can shout into the building, or anything that you can imagine.
You said the disheveled man was laughing to himself, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of like a low laugh, but he's sitting on the wall and he is not moving.
And he's not moving.
Yeah.
I will hang back with the disheveled man.
Okay. Sounds good. And now it is your turn, Brayden. What would you like to do?
I would like to go back to trying to see if there's a door around here I could kick down to get us inside.
Yeah, so to save most of your movement, I want you to go ahead and roll investigation for me. Or you can also roll insight or history. So history, insight, or investigation, whichever one you prefer out of those three.
I'm gonna do insight because that's the only one I have a modifier
Cool.
on.
Yeah, go ahead and roll insight for me.
Yeah, I got a 6.
It's just a solid 6. And so you run towards the nearest door and you start jamming on the handle as hard as you can, and the door is locked. And you see that, I mean, almost too good to be true. Almost like it's fiction. The doors and the shutters of these homes slam shut in this like almost coordinated motion towards away from the fog. It's like these people are accustomed to this. But the door is locked. Did you want to use your movement to do anything else?
Yeah, can I roll back with the rest of the group that
Yeah.
sort of moved back and then pull out my 2-hand axe?
Yeah, of course. All right. Next in line is whoever got the 13.
I got a 15.
Oh, Alston, then it's your turn.
All right. So can I still see the outline of a man standing?
In the fog.
In the fog, yeah.
So Anthony was the one who saw that originally, and he did not see.
Okay.
He did not see the outline of a man. What he saw was glowing motes in the fog approaching you, kind of at a slow gait, if that makes sense.
Okay. Then I am going to back with the rest of the group and ready a dodge action. I guess I'll be in the front since I have the highest AC.
Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, and next it is going to be Shelby's turn. Homae, what would you like to do?
I would like to go with the group but try to find a little bit more higher ground and draw my bow.
Okay. So go ahead and roll perception for me.
Nine.
So with a 9, you actually don't see much high ground. The only high ground that you see are the buildings around you. If you wanted to get on top of the buildings, you might be able to do that. If you wanted to, I'll let you know what you need to roll.
You cut out there, Will.
Hey, I'm sorry. Did you say something?
Yeah, you cut out
I
a little
didn't
bit.
hear what you said.
Yeah.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. What I was saying is there are just buildings around you. If you wanted to try and get onto one of the buildings, you can do that with your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Cool. Go ahead and roll acrobatics or athletics for me, whichever one you prefer.
I got a 14.
For which one?
I'll go acrobatics. I both have +3 in both. But
Okay. So you scramble your way up the bar, and you're able to kind of just claw yourself onto the roof. It's a shingle roof, so moving around on the roof is going to be difficult, but you can do it.
and then draw my longbow.
All right. And then finally, it's your turn, Kumiko.
Okay, I'm suspecting
There you go.
my sister is near the old man, and I don't want her to stay there because of the old man, so I rush towards her and pick up the old man. He's now with us. I'm going to carry him like a small dog that he is.
You're going to attempt to carry the old man.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and roll athletics for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh. So 9 plus athletics, right? So I got a 12.
No, that's not 11.
Sorry, I got an 11.
No, I mean,
9
So
plus 5.
with an 11, with an 11,
I got 14.
with a 14, you are able to pick up the old man, but this halves your movement from now on, so you're going to be the slowest person in the party. And you pick him up, and he says, "What? What is this?" And he's so surprised. He said, "What is going on?"
I want to tuck him into my armpit.
All right. I'm going to end your turn there. You guys notice that the fog is approaching at this slow gait. But as you all prepare to do things, the fog encroaches, and the pressure, Anthony, increases as the fog comes nearer. And what you see is these blue glowing motes, and there are so many of them, countless in number, that are at the front of this wall of fog, are walking towards you, and they're within 30 feet of you now, Anthony, and what you see is these humanoid figures almost shambling with these blue motes where their foreheads are. And it's your turn. What would you like to do?
They're 30 feet of me?
They are within 30 feet of you.
I kind of want to throw a dagger at one to see what will happen.
You can do that.
Yeah, I'll throw a dagger to see what happens. See if it actually affects them.
All right. So go and roll to hit. So roll d20 for me. And then where it says weapons and where you see dagger, add that +4.
I did 15.
Yeah, 15. A 15 hits. And so you throw your dagger at this figure with this blue mote above their head. And the dagger hits it, sticks into it, and it continues to walk.
Shit. Can I say shit?
You can say shit.
I say shit and think about what other
No
cards I can use.
Roll to say shit. All right. Did you want to do anything else with your turn?
Could I cast another spell or no?
No. That's your action. You can do movement if you wanted to.
I mean, unless he had a bonus action.
Right.
Could I roll perception to see if there's anything farther away or gives me distance? Like an obstacle?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll perception for me.
$15.
So with a 15, you see that there are not any natural barriers or anything that you can hide behind easily within sight. I mean, there's a corner of the shop that's near you, and then the town seems to move into a hill as you go about 100 feet behind you.
Damn. I'll move 10 more feet back and end my turn.
Cool. All right. So now it is Britain, your turn. What would you like to do?
So I begin to hum. And
Okay.
It's kind of like a.
It's
Something like your mother should have swallowed you all.
okay, and
focusing on the plane closest to y'all, or closest to us. Because basically what I did was vicious mockery, which is 1d4 psychic damage.
This is hilarious.
Yeah. And you're within 60 feet, right?
Yes.
Your vicious mockery does not seem to have an effect on them.
Okay.
Did you want to do any movement? Did you want to do any movement?
I'm going to stay where I am because I think I'm right next to Anthony's character.
Alrighty. Emmy, it's your turn. Did you want to do anything?
Did it affect me?
I don't know.
Okay.
You can be
Can
creative if
I
you want.
investigate the people and try to talk to them with the 4 languages that I know?
Yep. You want to walk up to them and try and talk with them, or walk up to them with
I'm
them?
gonna stay where I am and yell.
Okay. Go ahead and stay where you are and yell then.
Okay, bitch! Who is you?
Go ahead and roll investigation for me.
Wait, what did you say?
No, go ahead and roll investigation for me.
Oh, I got 12 and investigation at +3, so 15.
You hear a popping, sizzling, crunching, dragging, but no words.
They speak Eubonics?
No.
Enemy.
All right. Did you want to do anything else with your turn?
I don't know the language that they're speaking.
No.
Okay, well. Move back 10 feet.
All right. I think I went with, yeah. Braden, your turn. What would you like to do?
Do we have an idea on how many things are in the fog?
I would say for the purposes of investigation, for the purposes of perception, it is innumerable. Like, you could stand there counting and, an hour would go by and you would still be counting.
Alright, yeah, cool. I'm gonna try to go towards that hill then.
Alrighty. So you want to use all of...
Actually, can I try to see if there's... Scratch that. Can I look around and try to see if there's, like, a place that looks like a mayor would live?
Yes, go ahead and roll. I'm going to give you a choice between investigation and perception.
I'm gonna go with perception.
Alright, go and roll perception for me.
I rolled a 9, or I got...
Got 9, what's your modifier?
That's after the modifier. I
Oh.
rolled a 6 and it was +3.
Oh no. So you see that there's a large home on the hill, and that could feasibly be the home of a mayor. A lot of wealthy, important people like to live on the high ground. There are advantages to living on the high ground, so possibly towards the hill.
Yeah, I'm gonna move my full distance towards the hill.
All right. So you're essentially on the other side of town now. It's a small town, and there's just one main thoroughfare north ways and one main thoroughfare east-west ways. So you're just traveling that thoroughfare up that hill. The road merges with the hill and starts moving upward as well. Next is Alston. Alston, what do you want to do?
Okay. Is this whole thing something that Tristan would know about?
Yes.
Before.
Yes. You want to roll history for me?
Yeah, I'll roll. No, he doesn't know about it. It's a one.
It seems different than what you remember. But then you were a lot younger the last time that you saw anything like this. The last time that you saw anything like this, Tristan, was when you had met your mentor and she had saved you. But it was different then. This seems somehow different. What do you want to do with that information?
I'm gonna tell everyone that we should probably get to the high ground, and just to see what happens, I'm gonna cast Sacred Flame on one of the shamblers closest to us.
All right. And do you have to roll the hit on that? I forget.
That is a saving throw for you.
Okay.
It's a dex saving throw.
And it fails that. I go and roll damage.
All right. 1d8. 6.
So you target the one that's in front or one that's further behind, or what do you do?
The one clip. Just whatever's in.
Whoever's in front.
Yeah.
You said Sacred Flame?
Yeah. 6 radiant damage.
Ostensibly, Alston, this burning fire comes down and rains on this creature. And it does not dodge. It doesn't attempt to move away from it. And you use magic, yeah. The pressure that you feel from the wall seems to actually increase just a little bit.
Like it relieves a little bit.
No, it gets worse.
Oh. Jeez. Oh yeah. Yeah, we should definitely find some high ground. Does it seem like they're going after people's houses or in a straight line?
It's like a straight line.
Okay, so we might be able to just move out of the way, and this might just pass through.
All right.
And so, yeah, I guess I'll just end my turn there.
Shelby, what would you like to do with your turn?
Since I'm already on one of the buildings, I think I could probably try to signal to people to try to come up. But I would also like to attempt to shoot at one of the things with my bow.
Yeah, you can do both.
To see what happens. I want to try to shoot in the head.
Okay, go ahead and roll to hit for me. So roll d20, and then you're going to add the hit modifier that's attached to your longbow. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Ends up at an 8.
With an 8 misses, and you don't hit the one that you're aiming for, you actually hit a different one. And because they are so closely packed, and the arrow sinks into it, and then the arrow shaft crumbles and falls away. But ostensibly nothing else happens.
Well, fuck. Alright, yeah, everybody just come up on the roof.
All right. At this point, does anyone else want to do anything unique? I think we have two different plans that everyone has hatched. Moving towards the mayor's house or moving onto the roofs. You guys can make your decisions about what you want to do.
Did you ask me what I was gonna do?
You are holding the disheveled man in your hand. What would you like to do? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip you.
Yes, you did.
Am I near a building?
Sorry.
Am I near a building?
Yes, you're near a building.
Okay, so I see everyone else jumping on the roof, so I also want to do that. So I throw the old man up on the roof and I jump up after him.
Go ahead and roll a athletics check for me. It's well over 10 feet to get up onto the roof, so
7 plus 5, 7, 8,
12.
12.
oh god. You throw this man an impressive distance for hurling a man, but it is not far enough. He comes back down and you deal 9 points of damage to him. His head cracks open on the ground. And he's bleeding out. He's bleeding out and dying.
Why did I die? I don't see to our problem. That's why I sent him.
Do you want to do anything else with your turn?
Okay, my last. I'm gonna pick
All right, roll athletics for me.
18 plus 5. That's gonna be.
You sling him over your shoulder and you feel blood just soak your back, but you're holding him now.
Last time you would have killed him. Is that everything for you?
Yeah, so I'm really glad that we did your turn.
Oh man.
I'm getting scared, so I want to pull out a weapon to be ready.
Okay, so you've got a full ass dude in one hand and your knife in the other. I've got it. Just so that I'm conceptualizing this correctly. Where do you want to put all the blood?
Wait, Kumi doesn't want to hold her knife.
I don't want to hold my knife.
Okay, you don't have to hold your knife.
I'm pulling out my security dildo.
And Kumi, go ahead and roll a d4 for me.
I have a 3.
You feel 3 points safer. All right, guys. Does anyone want to do anything else unique other than Mavthor? You still want to run towards the mayor's home? Who wants to get onto the roof?
I want to get on the roof.
I want to get on the roof too.
I want to get on the roof.
All right. Anyone want to go to the mayor?
I'm gonna cast Spare the Dying on the old man's head.
And he's no longer rolling death saving throws. He was at 1, by the way. All right, so he's stabilized. Kumi's tunic is covered in blood. As you all make your ways onto the roof, I'm going to let you go to the mayor's house, Braden, but it'll be just in a little bit here, okay?
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so you all climb onto the roof, and Go ahead and, for every person, roll an athletics or an acrobatics check in order to get onto the roof for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to get higher. You just have to get higher than a 10. Cool. So, again, you just have to get higher than a 10, and you climb yourself onto the roof. The only problem is going to be if you get lower than a 10 or if you get a natural 1.
Since I'm not trying to get on the roof, do I have to?
No, you don't. Is everyone good, aside from Alston? Alston, I muted you for a second.
By the way, behind Mavthor going, "Oh, you."
All right, so everyone makes their way onto the roofs except for Brayden. Brayden is staying ahead of the fog and ahead of the shambling creatures. And as this mist walks by, you notice the nature of the mist. All right, never mind. You notice the nature of the mist. Someone roll perception for me. You notice that these shambling creatures resemble humans, and they resemble elves, and they resemble the races and species that you are accustomed to, but they seem to be different. Where your third eye might be, there is a flickering blue flame, and where the eyes are, there is this soulless look to them. They don't seem to see where they're going. They don't seem to see what they're doing. And they look drained. If that's a way that you can look as a person, they look drained. And where their feet touch the ground, you see that grass shrivels and dies, and steam rises off of their shoulders, and you realize that what is the mist is actually this rolling weather pattern that is associated with these creatures, these soulless creatures. Where their feet touch the ground, it freezes, and where their shoulders are, steam comes off. And Alston, when you had shot that creature with your magic, it seemed to have absorbed the energy. And these shambling men shamble by you. Did you guys want to do anything, or did you just want to watch?
I'm just gonna observe.
What'd you?
So I feel like the old man is not as useful as I thought, so I'm gonna go ahead and ditch him and throw him off the roof.
No. I'm gonna stop her because he could have information.
No. You don't get to stop. You can roll to contest her if you want.
I want to roll to
go and roll. Let's say perception. Let's see how quickly you notice her.
What?
Oh god.
You're just straight up jerking it on the other side.
Wait, if it's a 1 for me, I honestly want to say I'm distracted because I'm trying to talk to the cleric, seeing if she knows more information about this.
That sounds good. Yeah. All right. So, Kumi, you throw this disheveled man into this walking horde, and
I'm gonna shock put him into the horde.
go and roll a athletics check for me.
19, 20, 22, 23! 23!
Okay, so you get him. So you throw him pretty far, and he lands at the feet of one of the Solless, and this is the first time that you've seen them actually notice anything. So what happens is this disheveled man is awake and conscious at this point, and at the feet of this horde of creatures, and the creature looks down at him, snaps its fingers, and touches him. And you see this stream of blue energy from where the creature touches the disheveled man, winding its way up the arm of the soulless creature. And the creature seems to gain sentience. It seems to gain something from this. And it looks around, and its face drops to this look of like horror as this circle of other soulless mob this newly sentient creature, and they each drain him until all of this energy that was taken from the disheveled man seems to have been dispersed, and again they're just this mass of wandering creatures. And the mass eventually passes by you guys. Braden, this will be back to you at this point, unless you guys wanted to do something else.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, I already tried to.
So, Braden, as you run away from this shambling horde, you make your way up the hill. What is it that you want to do?
I'm trying to find the biggest, most mayoral-looking house.
And you see a big mayoral-looking home. I'd say a 5-minute run from where you are. And you're just gonna keep making your way towards it.
Yeah, I think so. I want to.
Yeah.
Seems like the town has some kind of idea of what's going on, so it seems like he would know.
Yeah, and so you make your way up to this hill, and you notice that the shambling horde seems to avoid going up the hill, and it seems to go away from the hill down into a valley that is near the town. And you can see it as you make your way up the hill. This fog moves with this horde. And the mayor's home, you approach it. What would you like to do?
Is there like a gate or anything that I have to deal
There
with,
is.
or I just walk up?
There's a gate. Yes.
Is the gate locked?
Yes. Sorry.
Can I? Is there anyone inside of the gated area that I can try to get?
No. It seems like the windows are shuttered, the door's locked. But you can try climbing the gate if you wanted to. It seems like the horde has made its way out of the town.
Like it's not really much of an issue anymore.
Right.
If it's not really much of a pressing matter, I think I might actually go back to the group, make sure everyone's alright, and then try to convince them to go talk to the mayor, because it seems like everyone's probably going to be coming out again here pretty.
Yeah, okay. You make your way back. Guys, do you want to make your way off the roof?
Yeah.
And you notice where this horde had walked, there is no longer any of what you would call life. No moss, no grass, no trees. And the world is as quiet as if it had just snowed.
I would like to start crying, please, because I'm a hippie and I don't like that nature just.
Yeah. I would like to roll to cry. This is actually where I wanted to end it for tonight. Yeah, with you guys all meeting back up. Is that all right with you guys?
I'm good with that.
Can I do one super last thing?
Yeah, of course.
I just wanted, since I've seen more now, can I just try and think really hard and roll another history check?
Yeah, you can brain blast.
Yeah, I'm gonna brain blast.
Go ahead. And...
This time I rolled a 6.
Yeah, so I will tell you that these shambling creatures don't kill you. They convert you, and what they steal from you is your very energy. It's like a pandemic. It has been increasing in size and moving across the country as long as you've been a cleric, and it has been just getting bigger.